Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you've never been here before. I am Rosalind Yukich, and here on my channel we talk about all things keto, homeschooling, and Bible journaling. If those topics interest you, you definitely will want to go and check out some of my former content. Today we are talking about homeschool goals in the new year. This is a collaboration video with Tiffany from The Happy Homeschooler, so you are definitely gonna want to go check out her channel. Her link is in the description below. So if you are a homeschool mom, you definitely want to go check out her channel for some homeschool inspiration and encouragement. Also in the description below is a link to the playlist where you can find videos from other moms who are going to be sharing their goals in the new year, and that is also going to provide some great inspiration and encouragement for you going forward, because we always know gearing up for the new year, we're kind of thinking about some new things, what changes we want to make. Also, we may have hit a slump. I know I'm definitely in that group. I'm definitely in a slump, and so I've been reaching out for some of that encouragement, something to sort of propel me out of that slump and back into, the excitement that I had in the fall that's just sort of waned off in, as the years progressed. So today I have 6 things that I want to share with you, 6 goals that I have for the new year. So let's get started. The first goal that I have is I am wanting to shorten our school days. Admittedly, our school days are too long. Now, I do know that there are a few things that sort of lengthen those school days, and that's like my children's private music lessons. They have both chosen 2 instruments, and that is entirely by their choice. And I definitely encourage that. As a musician myself, I was sort of excited that my kids are so eager to learn music. And that does sort of stretch it out a little bit. But that other portion of the sit down, book work, worksheets, that part is admittedly too long. And so one of the things that I'm doing to sort of shorten our school days is I'm moving my children from our sort of more eclectic school curriculum choice to almost all easy peasy. If you have never looked into Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschooling, it is a free sort of, in a sense, online box curriculum, if you can call it that. It's an all-in-one comprehensive curriculum. It's you can find it online, or you can also order their worksheets off of Amazon. But it all sort of goes all together. It is an easier approach to homeschooling, and that's why I love it. It also really cuts out a lot of the busy work, but in following their Facebook group for the past few years, there have been a lot of parents that have given their testimonials of how their children started out with Easy Peasy with very little or no supplemental materials being used in that curriculum, and then successfully graduating their children out of high school and them entering into college very successfully, testing at above average or way above average on their SATs. So I felt like with that sort of track record with other parents using almost exclusively or using exclusively Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschooling, that I felt very confident in making this choice for my children. Although my children last year really did enjoy our choice for science, which was Answers in Genesis, and our choice for history, which was Story of the World, this year they're not enjoying it as much. And it has, I feel like, added a lot of extra work for them. And I feel like we can do the same sort of work in a shorter school period. The one thing that I really liked was that I was able to look at the Easy Peasy curriculum and move them you move them parallel over. So we won't be missing out on anything. I made sure that, looking back in previous lessons, that there wasn't anything that was covered that we hadn't covered yet. And so that was also really exciting for me to be able to do that. The second goal that I have is that I want to do more games. Now, Easy Peasy is definitely going to make this easier. One of the things that it is known for is that it has a lot of games, it has a lot of activities, but not just that, not just like online games. We have the apps, we do Rossi Mossi, and other learning apps and things like that. But I also want to do more table games with my kids. We do this fairly often, but not as often as I'd like. And I have found that doing games like Monopoly, my kids got that for Christmas this year. We just played it last night. The Game of Life, 10,000, Yahtzee, card games, Uno, and things like that. It really helps to promote conversation. It also helps to promote good critical thinking skills. But not only that, you can incorporate math into it. You can incorporate, vocabulary into it. There are so many things that you can incorporate into it. And of course, you're getting that wonderful family connection that is just so comforting and really helps sort of that retention to be much greater when they're learning. I have found that when we play games with my kids and I incorporate math or other skills in with the table games, then my children tend to retain that information that they learned a whole lot more. So definitely wanting to do more games. I'm wanting to do more art with my kids. I don't do this as well. I myself am a bit art challenged, and so it is a huge stretch for me to incorporate more art, but I do need to get on Pinterest a whole lot more, finding creative ways to reinforce what we are learning. We did an activity just before we went to moved over to our Christmas unit study, which I'm going to be talking more about in another video. My children want to do a reaction video to the Christmas unit study that we did, so be watching for that. But before we moved into that, we had been studying plant cells and animal cells. And so I took out a whole bunch of just art materials and threw them on the table and said, here's a picture, have fun. And they really got into it. Not only that, it helped them to retain a lot more because they were doing a hands-on activity, putting to use what it is that they learned. And so I definitely want to incorporate that more. Now, if you watched any of my previous videos, you're like, that's a goal for the new year, but that's a goal that you had starting out the school year. Yes, it is. And I've done better than I did last year with these, although that was not hard to make an improvement because last year we did so poorly with games and art. So we've done better this year, and I just want to do even more better in the new year. So the fourth goal that I have is to begin doing Friday testing, or I guess Friday check-in, but it is going to be written and oral testing. And here's why I want to do that. Even though I am personally of the opinion that written testing in particular is not always a good way to gauge how much your child is retaining, I feel like when they go out into the real world, that is exactly what they're going to experience. If you want to do college entrance exams, when you go to do your driving test, when you are learning a new skill on the job, and so you've gone for training in a specialized area for your career, most often you will have to do some sort of a written test. And so I feel like building that skill with my children in doing written testing, learning how to study, learning how not to just study to the test, but study for life, learning how to perform well in a written test environment. All of these things, I think that's a very good skill to have. So I feel like eliminating testing or doing less testing in the school year is maybe not the best way. It's not really preparing them for real life. And so I feel like this is a skill that I want to build in them, but I also feel like maybe I'm not always doing the best job I can do as a parent to gauge how much my children are actually retaining from what we are learning. One of the things that I really like about Matthew C. And this is actually one subject that we are not going to be doing with Easy Peasy. We're going to continue doing Math UC Math because I just like the way that it is set up. But one of the things that I like with it is that when you get to the end of a lesson, at the end of the lesson, you always have that test at the end. For one, my kids actually really enjoy it. They look forward to doing the Math UC test. I think it's for them sort of like it's almost like a certificate of accomplishment that, yay, I accomplished that. I did well on the test. Now I get to move on. And so I think bringing that into all of the subjects, going, yay, here's your test. You did really, really well. Now we can move on. It's a motivation factor. It's definitely motivating for them doing the Math UC tests at the end of every chapter. And so, but not only that, I feel like it's a great way to sort of check in, making sure that we're staying, on track with our retention of the information that we are learning. And I feel like that's going to be great for me as a parent teacher to have that. It's also letting me know how well I'm doing as a parent teaching my child. So, I feel like, even though it's maybe not always the best way to gauge how things are going, it's still very useful and it's motivating for my children. So why not? So I'm going to be doing written/oral tests on Friday with my kids. But to sort of prepare for that, my fifth thing that I want to do as a goal, my fifth goal that I have for the new year, is I want to, throughout the week and throughout the month, take note cards and just write down the things that we're learning, just sort of bullet points, and then do what I'm going to call walk and review. We have a beautiful walking path up behind our house. So it's a street that goes up and then you sort of detour off, and it's a great path, and it goes up over it's up in this big hill up over our house and has a beautiful overview of the countryside behind our house. It is absolutely a gorgeous walk, and we do it very often as a family. It's sort of one of our own, personal walking paths. And so I thought, why not take all of the stuff that we're learning, write it down in a note card, and we'll go and we'll walk, and we're connecting together as a family, but then we're also reviewing what we are learning in school. I feel like this would be a wonderful activity, sort of bringing all of those things together. Now, of course, when the spring comes and it rains, we won't be able to do the walk, but we do have an exercise room in our laundry room where we have an elliptical, we have an exercise bike, we have a swing, so we're still getting that physical activity in, and we can just take everything in there and do a sort of exercise and review. And that's a really great way to sort of, review what we're learning, repeat that information, just getting that really deep into them, what we are learning in a fun way, in a way that we're connecting together. Go out on the trampoline and jump and review. There are just so many ways that we can make that happen. And so that is my fifth goal for the new year. The sixth one, is I want to do more one-on-one. I get a fairly good amount of one-on-one with my younger. He is in a lower grade, and so, he still really needs and thrives on that one-on-one. But my older son, who is in fifth grade, he doesn't get as much, and yet I feel like he could still thrive so much on that one-on-one. And so that is one goal that I have for the new year, is to just improve in that area, but not just school-wise. Here's the thing, is I feel like a lot of times my children get more of me as a teacher than they do from me as a parent in that one-on-one. And even though I know that, hey, we're not just homeschooling, we're life schooling, right? So everything in school or everything in our life is, a learning opportunity. I still feel like that there is this sort of teacher element that they get more from me than they do from me as a mom. And so I want to sort of improve on that area of, hey, let's just hang out. Let's, what do you want to do one-on-one? This is me and older son time. So, what do you want to do? You want to play a video game together? Whatever. And so getting that one-on-one, because I feel like that is so essential. I think as a homeschool family, a lot of times, we, especially as homeschool moms, we spend so much time with our children in school that we sometimes tend to neglect that one-on-one as just a mom, just sitting down as a mom and just, you know, hanging out together as mom and child. And so I don't want to leave that out. I feel like that's super vital to what, to our interpersonal relationship. So those are my 6 goals for the new year. What are your goals? That's what I want to hear from you now. So chime in the comment section below. Let me know, do you have goals for the new year? Do you do a regular check-in with yourself and with your kids? I set these goals out. I just want to mention, not just in my, with myself, but also with my children. I do check in with them often, ask them, how are you liking what we're doing? What would you like to do more of? What would you like to do less of? What is something that you're not so crazy about? And so I did set these goals out with my children, checked in with them to see how they liked these goals, and they were really excited about them. So, do you check in with your kids? So, what are your goals? Chime in below. If you liked this video, be sure to leave that thumbs up, do all the things, the subscribe things, the click the bell things, all of those things. Go in and do all of that. I do upload several times a week, so you're definitely going to want to get notified when a new video goes up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.